My next patron question is from Joshua, who wants to know about a recent distribution plan made by a movie studio. In December 2020, Warner Brothers made the controversial decision to release their entire 2021 film slate in theaters and on HBO Max simultaneously. This decision has angered several people: Christopher Nolan, Denis Villeneuve, James Gunn, and even the DJ among them, who are firm cinema supporters, and were not consulted prior to Warner's decision. What are your thoughts on the issue? Like Joshua mentioned when it was announced that all of WB's 2021 movies will play on HBO Max at the same time they played in theaters, the news did not go over well. A major issue was that several of the filmmakers and top actors weren't consulted beforehand, as their salaries were tied to how the films would perform at the box office. Legendary Pictures was also annoyed, since they were the principal backers of Godzilla vs. Kong and Dune, and it's obviously important to them that these rather expensive movies perform well in theaters. Warner Brothers said they did not want word to leak out beforehand, but that's a minor issue compared to potential lawsuits from talent. Thankfully, they were able to resolve this by paying what they were owed, but it's hard to ignore that they flubbed the initial announcement. That aside, I do think it made sense early in the year to do this. I actually think Godzilla vs. Kong was one of the most important films in the cinema reopening of 2021. You needed to have a big film open in theaters early on to test the waters and see if people were willing to come back. By having it be on HBO Max at the same time, you have the option for people who aren't yet comfortable going to cinemas, while also providing a potential crowd pleaser for theaters. Yes, you had films like Tom and Jerry and Raya and the Last Dragon open prior to Godzilla vs. Kong, but those films still had numbers that weren't anywhere close to what they would have made in non-pandemic times. Godzilla having a decent-sized opening and getting to $100 million domestic gave other studios the confidence to open their own potential blockbusters and get the ball rolling for theatrical exhibition. Was this move also done to get people to subscribe to HBO Max? Absolutely. It was a smart marketing tactic to make people aware of the service, especially when most of the attention seems to be on Disney+. WB was also very cheeky in the advertisements by proudly announcing there would be no added cost to subscribers. No premiere access here. The next question is how much effect this had on the box office of those films. I already mentioned Godzilla doing well, and the new Conjuring pulled in decent numbers too. Space Jam: A New Legacy made $70 million domestic, which is not that bad when you consider how other family films have performed at the North American box office. But then there were a lot of questions regarding In the Heights and The Suicide Squad, which were classified as disappointments. However, I think they had other hurdles. In the Heights sought broad appeal, but surveys have shown women and older viewers are the most reluctant to return to theaters, which probably affected its numbers. Meanwhile, The Suicide Squad was following a not too well received movie, and just adding "the" to the title probably created confusion. And The Many Saints of Newark was a movie based on The Sopranos. Fans of the television series are already used to seeing those characters at home, so there probably was not a rush to go to a theater. I do think Warner Brothers should have done a case-by-case basis, like Disney has done. Disney made some movies available at home at the same time with an extra fee, a few were moved to Disney Plus at no extra cost, and some have gotten exclusive theatrical releases. They tried and tested these strategies as they went. Free Guy and Shang-Chi did very well playing only in theaters, which has given Disney the confidence to stick with that plan for the rest of the year. Dune has been pulling in decent numbers overseas where HBO Max is not available, although as I record this, the opening weekend numbers have not been revealed for domestic. But it could have done more without the home option. We're certainly not out of the pandemic yet, but I think WB was a little too pessimistic about how 2021 would play out, hence this apparent safety net. While I do think it makes sense for a film of older audience appeal like King Richard, it's less logical for Dune and The Matrix Resurrections at this point. However, the studio has already said they won't do this again next year. Thank you for your question, Joshua.